Chapter 156 to 158. Goten, since you've decided to leave, there's no point in us trying to keep you here, Goku said with a smile, walking over to his son. It's just a pity that I didn't get a chance to have a proper fight with you, he added. But I know that even if I did, I wouldn't stand a chance. He patted Goten on the shoulder, his expression softening into that of a proud father. I hope that the next time we meet, we can have a good fight, father and son. Goten nodded with a smile. Okay, it's a deal! At this moment, little Goten rushed forward, looking at his older counterpart with wide, pleading eyes. Big brother, come back soon, okay? You have to guide me in training. I want to become as strong as you and surpass Trunks. Seeing the adorable determination on his younger self's face, Goten chuckled and nodded. All right, I promise to train you well next time. Together we'll make sure you surpass Trunks. After a few more words of farewell, Goten turned to Vados and Broly. It was time to leave Mount Paozu. On their way, Vados voiced her concerns. Lord Goten, I overheard your conversation earlier. Are we really heading to another timeline? That seems problematic. She hesitated for a moment before continuing. You know as well as I do that traveling through timelines without permission is a serious offense. It would be best to report this to Lord Zeno and the Grand Priest before proceeding. But Goten shook his head firmly. No, I'll take full responsibility for this. He turned to Vados with a confident expression. You're my assistant angel now, so just follow my orders. If Zeno or the Grand Priest have a problem with it later, I'll explain it to them myself. This timeline's Zeno and Grand Priest weren't bad, so he didn't want to clash with those two. But even if it resulted in a conflict now, he was not afraid. Vados hesitated, but eventually nodded. She knew she couldn't stop him, even if she wanted to. Goten's strength far surpassed hers, and his position as Grand God of Destruction gave him authority over her. As you wish, Lord Goten, she said with a sigh. Good. Then let's go, Goten said decisively. He summoned the time ring, and with a single motion, he, Vados, Broly, and the others vanished from their current timeline. When they reappeared, they found themselves in a different parallel timeline. The first thing they noticed upon arriving in the 7th universe was the absence of familiar energy signatures. Goten searched carefully, but there was no sign of Earth in this timeline. It had likely been destroyed a long time ago. What's more, neither the Supreme Kai nor the God of Destruction of this universe seemed to exist. It seems this timeline has no gods, Vados remarked, her brows furrowed slightly. I can't sense the presence of any angels or gods of destruction here. Goten wasn't surprised. Some timelines lacked divine oversight entirely, much like the Dragon Ball GT timeline, where the most notable god was the old Supreme Kai. Gods like the angels and gods of destruction didn't exist in every timeline. Still, Vados continued, it's strange. Logically speaking, there should still be a Zeno, along with the associated gods and angels. But here, there's nothing. Goten frowned slightly. If there aren't any gods or angels here, then Krillin and Trunks won't be in this timeline either. We can only go to the next timeline to find them, he said, disappointed. The randomness of where he'd sent Krillin and Trunks made it difficult to track them down. Even Goten himself didn't know where they had ended up. Now he could only continue searching aimlessly like a headless chicken. Just as Goten was preparing to leave this timeline and move on, two strong energy signatures suddenly appeared in the distance. The sudden spike in energy caught both Goten and Vados' attention. They turned toward the source, watching intently as two figures approached at high speed. Whiz! Within moments, accompanied by the faint sound of air braking, the two figures appeared in front of them. Goten instantly recognized them. It was Goku and Vegeta. But these weren't the Goku and Vegeta of his timeline, nor were they from the timeline he'd just left. The two new arrivals were dressed differently. Goku wore a sleek black martial arts uniform, accompanied by a red trench coat that flowed behind him. Vegeta, on the other hand, had traded his classic blue and white battle armor for a gray and black outfit with a cylindrical shoulder strap. TN, I will refer to them as Xenogoku Vegeta. You can Google them at Fandom. It didn't take long for Goten to realize who they were. These weren't ordinary versions of Goku and Vegeta. They were Xenogoku and Xenovegeta, members of the Time Patrol. The same realization seemed to dawn on the two Saiyans as they laid eyes on Goten and his group. Xenogoku's expression shifted to one of surprise. "Wait, is that Goten?" he said, his voice filled with confusion. The moment Xenogoku saw Goten, a very surprised look appeared on his face. Because the guy in front of him was very similar to Goten, it could be said that they were almost exactly the same, and they were about the same age. And another Saiyan? What is going on? Xenogoku's eyes turned to Broly, his gaze narrowing as he tried to make sense of the situation. Xenovegeta, meanwhile, frowned. Are you joking? Saiyan surviving in other timelines? That shouldn't be possible, he said, his tone skeptical. Then his sharp eyes focused on Broly. That one, he muttered. There's something familiar about him. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Vados stepped forward, her usual calm demeanor giving way to mild surprise. It seems these two are Goku and Vegeta, she said, glancing at Goten. But they don't belong to this timeline either. Judging by their strength, they're stronger than the ones from our timeline. Xenovegeta didn't wait for introductions. Stepping forward, he glared at Goten and asked bluntly, "Who are you? And what's your purpose for traveling through timelines willfully without permission?" Though Goten looked exactly like the Goten he knew, Xenovegeta was suspicious. The presence of someone traveling through timelines at will was enough to catch the attention of the Time Patrol. More importantly, Xenovegeta couldn't rule out the possibility that this Goten might be an evil creation of the demon gods. Those enemies had the ability to create warriors who could mimic others perfectly. "I'm Goten," Goten replied calmly. "As for traveling through timelines, I wouldn't call it willful. Furthermore, I don't need anyone's permission to do what I want," he added, his tone light. Xenogoku frowned, studying him closely. "You say you're Goten, but your energy is completely different from the Goten I know. There's no way you're the same person." Though the Goten in front of him looked identical to the one he knew, his ki felt entirely unfamiliar. Xenogoku shook his head. "The Goten I know doesn't have this kind of strength or talent. It's impossible." "Everyone in every timeline is different, so it shouldn't be surprising," Goten said lightly, his expression calm. If he were exactly the same as Goten in the other timelines, he would have died at the hands of Cell long ago. He was proof that every timeline creates its own destiny. Whether you're Goten or not, traveling through timelines at will is a violation of the laws of time, Xenovegeta stated bluntly, stepping forward. His sharp tone made it clear he wasn't interested in debating further. "You must come with us to meet the Supreme Kai of Time." His commanding demeanor only served to further aggravate Broly, who clenched his fists tightly at his side. His expression darkened, and anger simmered just beneath the surface. For Broly, Vegeta's very existence stirred complicated emotions. His father had raised him with a deep-seated resentment for King Vegeta, and that anger extended to Vegeta himself. Hearing Xenovegeta's self-righteous and arrogant tone now was the final straw. Broly's frustration boiled over, and his aura began to grow stronger and stronger. "Oh? What's this?" Xenovegeta smirked, noticing the change in Broly's energy. "Are you planning to fight me?" He took a step closer, his confidence unshaken. To Xenovegeta, it didn't matter who this strange Saiyan was or where he came from. He didn't believe Broly could possibly stand against the power of Super Saiyan Afu. And these guys were traveling through timeline willfully. He must bring them back to the time nest for questioning. From Broly's perspective, Xeno Vegeta's dismissive attitude only made things worse. His aura flared wildly, and his expression became more menacing by the second. "Don't be impulsive, Vegeta," Xeno Goku cautioned, stepping in. "This guy's energy feels off. It's strange, and it's growing really fast." Xeno Goku furrowed his brow. He recognized something familiar in Broly's Kai, but he couldn't place it. One thing was clear. Broly was no ordinary Saiyan. "Stop talking nonsense, Kakarot," Xeno Vegeta snapped. "Can't you see these guys aren't planning to cooperate? The best way to deal with someone like this is with force." Though Broly's aura was unusual, Xeno Vegeta wasn't worried. He and Xeno Goku were both at the peak of Super Saiyan 4, strong enough to face nearly any opponent. His confidence was unwavering. At this moment, Vados spoke up, her voice calm but firm. "The Time Nest. Mr. Vegeta, you should know that Lord Goten is the grand god of destruction. Even if your Supreme Kai of Time were here, she would address Goten-sama with respect." "Grand god of destruction?" Xeno Vegeta scoffed, his tone dripping with disbelief. "I've never heard of such a title. Sounds like an excuse to avoid punishment." No matter the timeline, it seemed Vegeta's pride and arrogance remained a defining trait. He was convinced that Vados was lying to protect Goten and the others. "That's a little too aggressive, Vegeta," Goten said, narrowing his eyes slightly. "I didn't plan on fighting you, but if you keep pushing, you'll have to be beaten to the ground." Though Goten didn't hate Xeno Vegeta, the man was clearly being too stubborn. It was obvious that leaving peacefully wasn't an option anymore. If Xeno Vegeta wanted a fight, then a fight he would get. This was the perfect opportunity for Broly to practice. Even with the strength of Super Saiyan 4, Xeno Vegeta and Xeno Goku together couldn't hope to match Broly, whose legendary Saiyan bloodline put him on a completely different level. "Oh, beat me?" Xeno Vegeta sneered. "Your jokes aren't funny." Despite the growing tension, Xeno Vegeta remained confident. He could feel the strange energy radiating from Broly, but he didn't believe it was enough to defeat him and Goku. "Since that's the case, we have no choice," Goten said calmly. "Broly, it's time to fight." As Goten's words reached him, Broly's aura exploded like a raging wildfire. "Roar!" A deep growl rumbled from Broly's throat as his energy turned a violent grass green. His black pupils instantly transformed into a golden hue, and his muscles swelled with raw power. This was Broly's wrathful form, a state of immense strength. Despite his anger, Broly wasn't fighting at full power, perhaps because he feared losing control of his more powerful form. As Broly's transformation completed, he burst forward with blinding speed. "So fast!" Xeno Vegeta barely had time to react as Broly's fist closed in. "Vegeta, watch out!" Xeno Goku shouted, realizing Broly's overwhelming speed and strength. But it was already too late. Broly's punch missed Xeno Vegeta by mere inches as he dodged at the last second, leaping into the air. Boom! The force of Broly's missed attack shattered the ground, creating a massive crater and sending debris flying in all directions. Tien. "Engel, I thought they were floating in space, lol." Xeno Vegeta landed a short distance away, his expression now serious. "Are you kidding me? Why is this bastard so strong? This guy hasn't even transformed into a Super Saiyan, and yet his speed and power are already at this level." Realizing the danger, Xeno Vegeta clenched his fists and roared. "Ha!" In an instant, his aura flared, and he transformed into Super Saiyan 4. His crimson fur glowed in the sunlight, and his power surged dramatically. "You're going down, you bastard!" Xeno Vegeta snarled. His arrogance returned as he launched himself at Broly, confident that his newfound strength would secure his victory. Xeno Vegeta descended like a golden meteor, his fist aimed directly at Broly's face, but Broly didn't flinch. Instead, he raised his hand, effortlessly catching Xeno Vegeta's punch. What? Xeno Vegeta's eyes widened in shock as Broly twisted his arm and yanked him downward. Rumble! Xeno Vegeta's body slammed into the ground with a thunderous crash. Broly roared again, his bloodthirsty eyes gleaming as he prepared to deliver the finishing blow. His massive fist came crashing down like a sledgehammer, showing no mercy at all. Damn it! Damn this bastard! Xeno Vegeta cursed, narrowly dodging the attack. TN, Chinese TL Vegeta, is a shrew. Crack! Though he avoided a direct hit, Broly's fist grazed his ribs, shattering several of them instantly. The force of the blow sent Xeno Vegeta flying across the battlefield. Vegeta! Xeno Goku shouted, his expression shifting from surprise to determination. With no hesitation, Xeno Goku transformed into Super Saiyan IV and charged toward Broly, ready to engage in battle. Just as Broly was about to strike Xeno Vegeta again, Xeno Goku intercepted him with a punch. Rumble! The moment their fists collided, the ground beneath them cracked violently, and another massive sinkhole formed. Thick clouds of dust swept up, spreading in all directions. What? What terrifying power? What's going on with this Saiyan? He hasn't even transformed into a Super Saiyan, but his ki keeps getting stronger. Even if Vegeta and I team up, it might still be impossible to defeat him. Xeno Goku's expression turned serious as he felt the overwhelming strength radiating from Broly. Initially, he had assumed that his Super Saiyan IV transformation would give him an edge over the Saiyan standing before him. But now, that confidence had vanished. This was someone who had effortlessly incapacitated Xeno Vegeta in mere moments, leaving him severely injured. Even if Xeno Goku was somewhat stronger than Xeno Vegeta, the result would likely be the same. Moreover, the Saiyan seemed obedient to Goten's commands. This implied that Goten's strength exceeded even Broly's, an unsettling realization. It was clear now that they had encountered an opponent far stronger than anything they had anticipated. Roar! While Xeno Goku processed the situation, Broly roared again, his grass-green ki aura intensifying further. A massive energy ball began to condense in front of his chest, radiating immense power. Without hesitation, Broly launched it straight at Xeno Goku. Reacting quickly, Xeno Goku dodged with a burst of speed, narrowly avoiding a direct hit. If that energy ball had struck him head-on, the consequences would have been catastrophic. Even if he'd survived, his combat effectiveness would have been drastically reduced. Roar! Broly let out another roar, his frustration evident as Xeno Goku evaded the attack. Without pausing, he swung both arms outward, releasing countless energy balls that rained down toward Xeno Goku like a relentless barrage. This guy is completely ridiculous, Xeno Goku muttered, frowning. Quickly turning to face the incoming attacks, Xeno Goku clasped his hands together and began to gather energy. Ha! The signature blue glow of a Kamehameha wave lit up the battlefield. Rumble! The Kamehameha collided with Broly's energy balls, resulting in a massive explosion that shook the already devastated terrain. In mere moments, the planet was left in ruins, with its surface completely damaged and broken. However, Broly's aura continued to grow stronger. His power showed no signs of stopping. At this point, both Xeno Goku and Xeno Vegeta understood just how dire the situation had become. Whoosh! Suddenly, Broly launched himself into the air, his speed unimaginable. Before Xeno Goku could react, Broly was upon him, initiating another ferocious battle. While Xeno Goku's extensive combat experience allowed him to hold his own temporarily, the power gap between the two was simply too vast. As the fight progressed, Xeno Goku began to lose ground. Broly's strength was not only overwhelming, but also constantly increasing. His ability to adapt during battle was extraordinary. In just a few minutes, he had fully analyzed and countered Xeno Goku's fighting style. Boom! The two clashed again, causing the surrounding mountains to crumble into dust. The sheer force of their attacks destabilized the landscape. Roar. The intense battle only fueled Broly's emotions, driving him closer to madness. At first, he had some semblance of control over his mind, but now his sanity was teetering on the edge. His roars grew louder, and his aura flared uncontrollably, signaling an imminent transformation. Within moments, Broly's pupils vanished, and his hair flashed gold. His body emitted an even more terrifying pressure as he transformed into his Super Saiyan form. That guy just got even stronger. Goku's face turned pale. He could barely handle Broly's base form, and now this, Super Saiyan Broly. If this keeps up, Vegeta and I will most likely die here, he thought, his expression grim. Even in his untransformed state, Broly's strength had already far surpassed both Goku and Vegeta combined. Now, in his Super Saiyan form, Broly's power had reached levels that seemed impossible to counter. Goku realized there was no chance of victory if the fight continued. As he strategized his next move, Broly charged at him again, his fist poised to strike. This time, Goku didn't bother dodging or blocking. He knew it would be pointless. Broly's power would only keep growing the longer the battle dragged on. Fighting a monster like Broly required a different strategy. A prolonged fight was a guaranteed loss. Boom. Goku met Broly's fist with one of his own, but the difference in power was evident. The impact sent Goku hurtling backward, crashing through more than a dozen mountain peaks. He finally stopped, gasping for breath as pain shot through his body. His arm was completely numb, and blood threatened to spill from his mouth. "This guy, he's unstoppable," Goku murmured. "The only way we can win is by fusing, but will we even get the chance?" As if on cue, Broly charged toward him again, his green aura raging like a wildfire. Goku braced himself, knowing there was no way to escape the attack. But then, a familiar figure appeared. Whoosh! Goten suddenly materialized in front of Goku, effortlessly intercepting Broly's punch. "All right, Broly, that's enough," Goten said calmly. Although Vegeta had been arrogant earlier, Goten couldn't let things go too far. He couldn't allow Broly to kill them. The moment Goten spoke, his aura expanded and enveloped Broly entirely. Despite Broly's frantic struggling, Goten's control was absolute. Within seconds, Broly's rage subsided. He reverted from his Super Saiyan form and regained his composure, his expression calm once more. The battle was over.